Hi, I'm Brian with Minor Disturbance Radio, and I just wanted to take a second to talk about this upcoming episode. Originally, we were filming for episode 4 with Jim VanHyfte as our guest. And what happened was we got done with the filming of the interview. Everything went great, although when I went to put the video with the audio, I realized that the video sucked really bad. We were trying out some new cameras for that episode, and they were horrible. So the footage was unusable, and that really sucked. So we had to decide whether we wanted to just scrap it and wait and do a different interview, or try to salvage what we had. And basically I decided to scrap it and then go for something else. But the other day I happened to be going through the audio files from the show, and I realized that the interview was way too cool for us to just scrap. So I decided, let's go old school Minor Disturbance Radio style and screw the cameras, screw the video, and we'll just put out the interview in its raw form and maybe put some pictures up for you to look at if you have to look at something, and go old school style. We won't put any sponsors on it. It'll just be Minor Disturbance Radio, and then you're going to hear the interview. It's good stuff. I liked it. I mean, I liked it enough that I'm going to put it out without any video or any kind of, extra stuff. So this is it. I hope you enjoy it. This is Minor Disturbance Radio with Jim VanHyfte. We have Jim VanHyfte with us in the studio, and he's going to talk to us about some rock and roll business. So what all bands then did you play in then? I know that you played with Chris Avey.
Right, yeah, the Avey Brothers band. We started the Twin Towers band. Right, I met him at the Clipper, him and his brother.
Great establishment.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Did we talk about this? What all happens at the Clipper? Like, that's the first time I ever seen anybody do a line of coke.
Yes, we did talk
and
about
it's like the first place I ever seen two chicks making out.
Yeah, we did.
Ruined me forever.
That's funny.
Never did coke, but I did fancy girls kissing each other for some reason. I don't know why.
And Marge.
I remember when it was. I remember when it was happening because they just started making out, and I was like a magnet. I just like walked over to it and just started getting in it too, and they didn't care. No? And it was like the Clipper, and I was like, okay, this is great.
Oh, the Clipper was great.
I was like 11. You know what I mean? No, I was underage. I knew I wasn't supposed to be in there, but Marge was like, "Where's your ID?"
Did you have to kiss her?
No.
Oh, she always demanded a kiss from me. I'm
really?
Like, I'll kiss you, Marge.
Oh,
come here, you old bastard.
I'll tell you something about Marge. One time we were at the Clipper, and there's a guy, a buddy of mine, passes out at the bar, drooling on himself, sleeping on the bar. She comes over, picks his head up, and goes, "Get out of here!" And then like drops his head back on the bar again. You know what I mean? It was just the greatest thing in the world.
Oh,
she was awesome.
I remember walking to the Tigers Den once, and there's some dude over there sucking on some broad's toes. I'm like, whoa, okay. That's the first time I ever experienced that. He was just over there like he was eating a fucking sub sandwich or something.
See, somebody had to bring up the Clipper.
Yep.
I was gonna save that because that could be a whole show. I'm trying to get Mike DePaul on here to talk about some stuff, but he's kind of a little hesitant. I don't know why. Maybe there's some bad feelings about what went down with it and all that stuff. But for me, it's all like, I don't know. It's like it's history that you can't get out of your head. But you know,
Marky DeKalb lived upstairs, and
he did.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, see, you probably saw more of it than I did because by the time I was old enough to get in there, and I wasn't old enough, but I was in a band, so they, know, I was like the little Keemley guy back in my day. You know what I mean? Right. Where people treated me different because I was a little better than the rest when I was like 16. You know?
Right. There you go.
So I got in there, and they made me sit behind the soundboard and wait. Don't give them any beers and stuff. But I'm still taking in the environment in there, and I was like,
there was another kid around here.
Yeah.
There's another kid around here that was a really great guitar player. His name was Wade
Torres.
Wade Torres.
Yeah, he won the first guitar contest, yes. I think. Let me tell you, when I was in high school, he was 2 grades ahead of me. Okay, and I was this freshman coming into high school, and this was when Doc and 80s style, and he hadn't mastered that 2-hand technique and the whole thing. And here I am, this little kid that was trying to figure that shit out, and I didn't have anybody to firsthand show me that stuff, and I knew he could do it.
Right.
And what do you say to a guy that's a senior and I'm like a freshman, and here I come, bull cut, and I'm like,
hi Wade in the halls, you know, and like he's like, hey man, what's up? And then finally I got my chance where we were walking at each other. He saw me, I saw him. I'm like, I'm gonna ask him. To me, the guys that could play like that, they were stars to me.
Right.
I didn't think that I would ever reach the ability to do that. I thought I was looking at something special, you know, and he was. Here's what was he, like 16, 17, 18 when he was doing that? And he actually ended up sitting like second chair, I think, violin for...
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
He
went to school and shit. You know, the weirdest thing about him was, though, is he just, like, he went and, like, found out how the fucking music industry works, and then he was like, I'm out.
Done.
And he just fucking bailed. And
that's kind of the way
I've
it
never
went, huh?
even, because it was funny. I was buddies with another friend of his, Brian Robinson, and at the time he was going to do that guitar contest thing and stuff, and I'm like, you know what, dude, just go out there and fucking act like you're, you know, Eddie Van Halen or something, because he was real introverted kind of, you know, and he was like, man, I don't know, you know, and he was real quiet and kind of, you know, reserved and shit, and I'm like, you know what, just fucking go out there and let your balls hang out, you know.
You
wear
told
glasses.
him that?
Yeah.
So you're like almost single-handedly responsible for like...
Well,
like
it was fucking
creating
weird.
the monster in him?
No, it was just really cool because he went out there and then fucking he was like doing his fucking Pete Townsend shit, and I'm like, whoa.
Wade did?
Yeah, and I'm like,
Jeez.
dude, man, you fucking won this thing hands down. And he was like, he's like right back into his shell again. He's like,
really?
You really think so, man?
I don't remember what he did because I wasn't old enough to see it. I know they did when I entered it. The first year I entered it, it was an under 21 at stage 2.
Yep.
And then there was if you pass through that, then you got to play with the guys that are over 21 at the call.
At the call, right?
At the call ballroom.
That's where it was. It was fucking amazing, man.
Yeah,
I'm like, so cool.
And with the year I was in it, I won the under 21. Okay, and then went and played with the guys and you know the whole thing. And I think I took 4th the first time I was in it overall out of the entire course. And that's in an era where every fucking buddy played guitar.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Where guitar playing was a thing. It wasn't like Chris Avey will whoop my ass at guitar. I know that. If he'd entered it, he should have. Did he? He never did. Where was that guy?
He's fucking. How old are you?
I'm 40.
Okay, Chris is, I think, 35 or something.
Okay, so he was an underclassman. Yep. So by the time that the guitar contest stopped, then he was kind of coming into it.
He was a big Slash fan and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
God, he can play, man.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a scary dude.
I fucking love that guy. That motherfucker will drink your fucking liver right out of you, though. You can't hang out with him.
You want to see a good blues player, man.
Oh, yeah.
God. Because I live kind of close to the creek side, so we used to go down there on Sundays when we didn't have kids and shit, and watch him play the blues down there, man. We loved doing that. And, God, he would melt my face every time. I'd leave there going, that guy's special, man. He can play.
Wow. Yeah.
He's a special cat. If you get a chance to see him play guitar, you'll be amazed. I mean, all the names run through your mind. You think of your Scotty Whitehall. You think, he's up there with all that. I think that he is an A-lister as far as guitar players around here. And I think that sometimes when you play the blues, a lot of the rock scene or the people that are talking about, they kind of push it aside. Or sometimes even Scotty gets pushed aside because he's kind of a country style.
Right, exactly.
So if it ain't like metal style, then people just overlook it, and they have the luxury of saying, well, it's not. Well, he's not playing like us, so we don't want to pay attention to that.
Right.
But it's in your face all the time. I mean, I've always known that there was players like that, but they weren't exactly in my genre.
Right.
But
I thought about that on the way over
Yeah.
here. I'm like, you know what? There's probably some dudes that watch this show that, probably know who I am, but I'm not really a metal guy, and
Well, I know.
but I've always tried to be one of those dudes that kind of transcends genres. I mean, the fucking weirdest thing is I've played in a country band since October or something like that, and that's so fucking far out.
What country band?
With Wyatt's.
Okay, so
deal.
that was a country band? I thought that they were more...
Yeah, no, it was like a country band,
See, they're just starting to kind of creep into my, what I see into my consciousness.
Well, they're fucking busy to say it, man.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's the new stuff, the Jason Aldean, which is really cool, I thought, because it was basically fucking playing Phil Rudd, fucking AC/DC, playing country.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I think I saw a little bit of footage of you playing with them. Didn't somebody put up something or a video or something of you from the side back behind you or something like that?
Probably.
And I was going, because I never got a chance to see you play rock style because I tried to get you to do it.
Right.
And I just never put that band together.
Right.
And it turned into a radio show instead of a band. So, yeah, because I was like, if this guy could play, I know you can drum.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
that's the whole
all you
thing
have to do is open your hat a little more and like maybe raise the sticks up.
Dude,
and when
I'm
you
fucking
hit,
wide
you know
open.
what I mean? It's no
wide
different.
open hats, fucking
Right.
twirling the sticks and shit. But that's the whole thing, man. Is the hardest thing is to transcend genres because I got cornholed or pigeonholed or whatever.
Cornhole.
Whoa.
into the fucking blues
Tell
thing.
us a little more about this. What happened here?
You know, everybody, I'd get all these fucking calls to play blues, and you know, and my buddies like Chris and shit, they'd do like a rock project, and the whole
Right.
time I'm like, fuck, man, is all I want to do is play in a rock and roll band. I'm fucking tired of playing the blues, blah blah blah. You know, you can only play the shuffle fucking 1,500 different ways, and then you're kind of over it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
a
could
fucking
imagine.
rocker dude from way back, so. From
Yeah.
the 80s.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
I think
learned.
you approached
Right.
me one time. You're like, man, let's put a rock band. You wanted to play rock songs.
Yeah,
all
like
of a
the
sudden.
Colt and shit. Just
Yeah.
fucking
Nice.
straight four fucking dirt fucking.
Yeah. So if you put together the Jim VanHyfte rock band,
Right.
what would your first 4 songs be out of the gate?
Oh shit, man! Stone Temple Pilots.
Right, and don't just say a band. What song?
Song.
Because
Oh,
what would
man.
you be playing?
Well,
I want to
fuck,
get
I
a
don't know.
drummer's
That-
perspective.
yeah.
I want to see if you have the drummer disease, which is like nobody else will like anything that you want to play.
No, you know, just it'd have to be bands because I don't know. I don't really think about songs. I don't even fucking
You know
listen
why?
to the lyrics of songs.
Because you're a
man.
drummer.
Because he's a drummer.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a drummer.
But like fucking the Colt, Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, fucking
We give drummers a hard time, man.
just straight four, you know, fucking pounded out, straight fucking dirty fucking rock.
Okay.
4/4, no fucking rush, fucking off time, crazy stupid.
Oh, okay.
shit.
So you don't want to do a drum solo
bang
the
that
whole
shit
time.
out. No, no.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to fucking do a drum fill more than do do do. You know, just fucking.
You don't?
Plow it out. No,
Come
fuck
on, at
no.
least just one like.
Just fucking smash the fucking crash cymbals and shit. You know, that's what I've been doing for the last fucking. For the half of the last fucking year, I've been doing it in a fucking country band, man.
Right.
Coming off soaked and fucking exhausted and shit. And I'm fucking gonna be 45, 6 this year.
Yeah, but 46. Yeah, but any more of the country is rock. I mean,
is.
do you listen to the production on that? It sounds like old,
yeah.
like Bon Jovi or
Yeah, and
something.
they got the solos and everything else
Yeah.
going in it. Yeah.
So it was
Buttholes.
kind of cool, you know. It was a step in the right direction for me. You know, I still want to play in a fucking rock band. You know, bright lights, fucking fog. You know, stupid,
Right.
loud.
That's expensive. The bright
Marshall,
lights and the
fucking
fog.
yeah, just fucking Marshall, fucking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever.
Well, so what's your take, Jim? What do you think that the scene lacks around here? What do you think and I don't want to be negative, but obviously we can sit here and go, oh, the scene's great for this and this and this, but what do you think it's missing around here? Since you've been in it for so long, what do you wish that people would take and do now? You know what I mean? To change things up.
That's kind of I don't know. I got a bad taste in my mouth about the scene. I have for the last few years. There was a lot of creativity up until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and now everybody's doing a cover band, and it depends on what's selling. If you're playing gigs and you're out working, it's what the people want. I mean, that's just what you do, but we need some fucking, we need to just shift gears and get back into original music.
Well-
like fucking Drop Hammer shit was badass.
No,
What happened to that?
Age. And
But
and
seriously, though,
here, I'll break it down for you. Here's what happens. I mean, you got what you want. What you just talked about, it's here. There's bands like 3 Years Hollow that just signed a record deal.
True.
Yep.
They're just finishing up their tour. I mean, and you might want to say it was just a tour. It was nearly national.
Right.
They played everywhere, and and them guys are blessed with the all the components to be in the right spot for them. Like, they have good material. They have guys in the band that are willing to put everything down and get on a bus and go on tour. And they have wives and kids that are supporting them while they're gone. Listen, Drop Hammer wouldn't have survived in that because, first of all, my old lady would have left. Not the one I'm with now, but back when Drop Hammer was around, my old lady looked me right in the face and said, if you think that you're going on the road, I'm gone. And
I hear you.
sometimes you're like, I don't want to lose
Right.
You know, if you would have said, well, I don't, you know, you're signing a deal for $1 million and then going on tour, I would have told her to fuck off. But to get on a bus and like maybe make it 4 gigs and then come running back home, like most people,
Right.
No, remember back when everybody went to LA and tried to make it? Well, when they came back, it was like, wah, 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 you know what I mean? And it sucked. So you didn't want to have that happen and come back to no old lady and just kind of, you know,
Now
you
what?
quit your job too. Now you got to look for a job. You know what I mean? So they did everything. They put everything on the line.
Right.
You know, and they're from here, and they you know,
It's kind of a weird deal now, though. You know, you got to kind of self-promote, and with all technology and, you know, YouTube and all the bullshit that you got to do now, and so it's completely different than what you and I, especially myself, because I'm kind of probably about another generation before you.
a little bit, yeah.
And so, you know, where you fucking record an album, and then you know, you go through the bullshit of people fucking ripping you off, trying to, you know, get to a record label now. But you can almost create your own label and do every fucking thing from your living room, you know.
Right.
Where, you know, before you had to rehearse and fucking warehouse and rent space. I lived in Florida when I was 18 or 19, and there was all these fucking bands. And nobody was doing shit, but they were recording and they were having big parties in warehouses. And that's how they were making money.
Really?
And they were like, it was like an underground thing, but
Wow.
they were big, but there was no place to play, you know, other than you go down on Fort Lauderdale Strip and Stevie Ray Vaughan would be playing or something. But
Right.
none of the locals down there, so they would throw their own parties.
Really?
So around
It's
here, how many bands have you seen just about go? And you thought, and the word on the street was, oh man, they're about to make it. You know, they're this and that's happening. How much hype have you heard and then watched it fizzle?
There's been quite a few over the years, but, you know, obviously Jesse left, and that was kind of real early on. And
Right.
he was,
That kind of gets overlooked because not too many people know that he went to play with Morrison Day in the time, right?
right. But yeah, and he was playing with Billy and those guys
Right.
before that.
Yeah.
And even Bobby, Prince wanted Bobby too, you know. And
Oh.
Really?
Well, I didn't know that, yeah.
So Prince found Jesse.
well, the time and all those guys, you know, there was a whole Prince kind of oversaw all that shit, you know, with Vanity 6 and all that. I mean, he's kind of the kingpin of that whole Minneapolis thing, but
Okay, yeah, because he was from Minneapolis, so that's kind of in our our circle a bit. Yeah.
but yeah, when he came down and he wanted Bobby, you know, and
Really?
yeah, and
Now you're talking about the drummer, Bobby
Boyd, yeah.
Bobby Boyd.
Bobby Boyd, yeah, and so
He was ripped back in the day, though. He looked like He-Man or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
He
he's
was- Not to say he's not anymore.
He's a fucking.
I'm just saying
cool dude.
that-
He fucking cracks me up, man. It
Yeah,
looks
he's a
like he's
good
gonna
guy.
have a stroke any moment. I fucking love it.
Well, you know what? He still has like an ambition left in him, or excitement that it's contagious. You know, you
Right.
catch it from him. He sees you and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Brian?" And you get talking about like Queensryche and shit, and he's like, "Oh, like yeah, fuck yeah," and it wears off on you, like, and you leave there going, "I'm excited. I don't know
Yeah.
why."
You watch him play, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Fuck you, crash
Oh, he
cymbal.
means
Fuck
it.
you too."
Yeah, yeah, and if he was picking the songs, he'd be playing Queensryche.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all the stuff that all the drummers talk about.
Right.
That would, you know, and I know a band that plays all that stuff. They're called Simon Says Uncle.
Right.
And they do all that type of stuff. And I don't know how to say this, but sometimes there's a good crowd for them. But most of the time, I'm baffled.
Why there's nobody there to see him?
Why such a good band, you know? And they put up a picture of them playing somewhere, and it said another sold out crowd because there was nobody on the dance floor, you know, and this and that, and I put
That's
it's
a
good,
fucking shame, man.
It's a good
is.
it's a good sign that you're in a good band,
Yeah.
That's true, man.
you know, because if you're in a good band, you're gonna probably because listen, most people that like to go out and drink beers are going out to like go out and be stupid. And most people that are around here aren't musicians.
Right.
The people that appreciate that are us musicians, you know, and we're always working, so we can't
Yeah,
go
exactly.
see them bands, you know.
Right.
So
I'd love to see that band, but for the last fucking 5 years, I've been every fucking weekend, you know.
them guys deserve to have like the cheese pizza crowds.
And
You know what I
Kevin-
mean?
And they do. They deserve it.
Kevin
They're great.
Sampson was a badass when I was a fucking kid. You know, he was like the dude that, you know, I was kind of fucking, I'm going to be like that guy. And
Yeah.
he's still fucking bashing it out, too.
Yeah, go
He needs
rehearse.
to eat a couple hamburgers and shit still. But
Go rehearse enough to play like Queensryche Needle Eyes or something like that. Rehearse, get all them backups, all the guitar parts, all this stuff. Get that done, and then go out and play your set, and have like two people sitting there like,
That was amazing.
Yeah, and then have another band go, and I'll just say it how it is. I know I'm in the scene here, and people can hate me or they can love me. I don't give a shit anymore. But then you take the very next night, you could have a band like Cheese Pizza in there, and nothing wrong with them. They're great players, but they're playing disco songs that anybody could do.
Right.
And there's 400 people in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's where's the medium? You know what I mean?
Well, the funny part about that is
musicianship.
And I've always said, that musicians around here kind of probably need to get over themselves, because if you're going to play and get paid to play, then you got to play what people fucking want. And so many times in so many bands I've played with, and guys are like, I fucking hate that fucking song. Well, you know what? That's why you're getting paid at the end of the night.
Yeah.
To play all the songs you fucking hate, because that's all that, most...
You're talking about Jesse's Girl.
Well, that,
It hurts so good.
Exactly. All that stuff, because most people, we have to remember, musicians, that this is like a fucking language. And most people, like 80% of people, and it's hard for you to fathom or me to fathom, but somebody just brought this to my attention recently, again, is that people that don't have any musical knowledge or they just don't have they don't have that fucking gift or whatever, they don't fucking know shit. And if you fuck up a song or play a bad note, their fucking asparagus tastes fucking the same as it did before, but musicians are like,
well, here.
It's fucking flat, dude,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you have to remember that. Most people have no fucking concept of what we do.
My buddy and I named that section of people. When you're out playing a gig, right? And then, the musicians come in because they're off their gig or they're on break where they're playing or whatever. And what do? They stand in the back with their arms folded like this. And they're just like this, and they're waiting for you to mess something up so they can go, see, they suck. Right. And then go down and do the same shit, and, because, you know what I mean? Because that's what we always called it, the disgruntled musician section, because there was always that section where they're not having a good time. They're just there to kind of watch you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then sometimes when I come in to see bands, I think that they're thinking I'm that guy, and so I do it right back to them. You know what I mean? Just stand there like this. You know what I mean? And then, it's not because we're not going to go in there and start dancing to Talk Dirty to Me. We're just going to stand there and drink beer and hang out.
Right. It's a social event. I mean, I don't even go to, the last place I want to go to is a fucking bar. If I'm not playing, I've lived, a third of my whole fucking 46 years in a bar playing, seeing the most stupidest fucking shit. And so the last thing I want to do is go to a bar when I'm not playing. But, and seriously,
and it's hard for a woman to understand that too, because I've had relationships with girls that you play, and then you get a weekend off, and they want to go out.
Right.
And I'm like, no. Yeah. We'll go anywhere but a bar. Let's not go see a band. Yeah. Oh, but I want to go see a band. Let's not go see a band. Well, and they don't get it. That it's like, I've had enough of it.
Right. Well, that, and people think they know who you are. When you're out and you're working and you're playing music and shit, you kind of create who you are. For me, it's kind of I'm pretty private with my kids and shit like that, so I don't really, so I put out this fucking stupid front, where people think that I'm just crazy and stupid and retarded, and but I'm pretty fucking complex dude, but I just, for me, it's like my kids and stuff, and very few of my friends have met my children. They don't live with me, and I'm not super dad or nothing like that, but it's just something that's mine.
Oh, yeah.
And I keep it that way, and so there's a lot of us that people don't really know, but they think they do. Oh, you're a fucking, self-centered prick or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I give you to fucking feed off of. So fuck you.
I always thought that you kind of remind me of like a character that would have been on the Grease. You wouldn't have been a Soch, or no, that was Outsiders. Outsiders. Like on the Outsiders, you got the Soches, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the guys with and then there's the Greasers. You're definitely a Greaser, man.
Dude, I'm a gearhead.
You're one of the bad boys. You're one of them leather jacket guys that come in and just punch you in the face for looking at them wrong. Well, that's the way that I saw it. I know that you're not that guy.
I'm a big fucking
but I like
guy.
that image. I've always liked that image.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I told you when I wanted to put my band together, I want people that just look cool. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Guys
kind of a fucking misnomer, though. You know what
I
I mean?
know. It's like same here. You know, people are like, you know, God, Brian's he's so hard to talk to, you know, and I'm like, you've never talked to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That guy's a fucking dick, man.
Yeah, you just come in and see me standing there and you go, look at him with his long hair and he thinks he's bad. Look at him. He must be an asshole. He is an asshole. And then all of a sudden I am an asshole to everybody. And then,
Right.
not to say that I'm not an asshole, because I probably am, but I mean.
But they have no idea who you fucking really are.
Yeah, hate me for what I really am rather than like
And
hate
then
me
other
for something
people-
that you've heard. Yeah.
Right. And then you work with guys and, you know, they go home and fucking spout off or whatever. You know, everybody fucking talks shit. And especially, you know, behind, you come home and if some fucking whoever is in your band is being a fucking prick, you're going to go and tell your old lady about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's depressurization or whatever.
Right.
But, you know.
Oh yeah, from the first day of bands together, clicks start to happen,
Right.
whether you want to face it or not. There's
So
certain,
then, you know,
yeah.
other, you know, guys, then you get hired in a band or you play in a band. It's the fucking members of the band that count. It's not what everybody else fucking thinks. You know, your wife or your girlfriend, or you don't fucking know me.
Right.
You know, really, you don't. So just whatever, you only know what you're told. You know, when somebody comes home and they're fucking pissed off or whatever, and it's like, you know what, that's not fucking fair. You
Yeah.
can't judge people like that. So.
Yeah, so let's get to the meat and potatoes here. You played in the Dirt Road Rockers, and just let me say, when I heard of them early on, and you know, it's been like a few months since the first time I heard them. You know how a new band creeps into the scene, you know, and you're always kind of your ears kind of perk up like like a German Shepherd,
Especially a good band, you know. I mean,
yeah, well,
really.
and you hear good things about them, you know, and people are like, oh, Dirt Road Rockers, this and that, and of course, you know, Keemley, we had a guitar thing with him, and he sent me a video of him playing and stuff, and we kind of showcased him for a second on the show, which he was supposed to do like an intro video for me, but he hasn't. So, but anyway,
he's a busy guy, man.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah, you don't have 5 minutes to go, hey, you're listening to Minor Disturbance Radio, and like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what was that, 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Anyway, so no, nothing against the kid. He seems like a good kid. I remember being that age and coming into this world, you know.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a road ahead of him, man, and it might go to the top, and it's a rough gig, man. He's gonna learn a lot. He's gonna learn a lot between now and.
I've always thought when he came in the band, I'm like, you know what? We could save this kid a lot of fucking heartache by just teaching him all the fucking pitfalls, or at least fucking informing him of the pitfalls, you know, because they're different now.
But you
than
remember
they were.
being a kid, right? You don't listen to that shit.
Yeah, you're like, no,
you're like a grandpa to him, man. You know what I mean? You're like, what's it? Because I remember that happened to me. I was when I was 16 or whatever, like older guys that have been like, you know, war dogs in the scene. You know,
Right.
Oh, let me tell you something, son. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, who
whatever.
you calling son?
I'm gonna be a rock star in 2 years, man. Why? Who are you talking
Right.
to?
Right.
I'm going to the top. You know. So.
Right. You know, he's a good player, man. He needs, you know, the people around him need to be, they need to be.
I've heard nothing but good things about him. I have yet to go see the Dirt Road Rockers, though. I think the other night I could hear him. I paused the TV when we were sitting on the couch, and I think I heard him playing down at the Rally on the River.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
played,
they're all the way down,
night.
and I'm not anywhere near that, but I could hear sometimes the wind blows just right, and it comes right up here, and we can hear everything that happens at the fairgrounds
That's
or
cool.
anything that happens down the river. And it sounded really, you know, like good. I was like, who is this? I was mad because, you know, when you're not playing and there's other bands playing outside in the summer, it's nice, and you know, you could tell it's like a big PA and stuff. You start getting jealous.
Yeah.
You're like, I should be playing right now, man.
Yeah, I hear
I should
ya.
be playing right now. I shouldn't be sitting on my front porch in my underwear, wondering who the hell is playing right now. You know. So, and my old lady looked it up, and I think it was the Dirt Road Rockers that were playing at the time. So, I'd like to go check them out. But anyway, so what happened? You used to drum for them guys, and now all of a sudden you're not.
I
So,
did.
what's up with that, man?
I drummed for them guys. White had been chasing after me for, I don't know, better than a year. He's in and out of putting together whatever band he wanted to have. You know, they did Sleeping on the Couch, and then he put together the first lineup or whatever of the Dirt Road Rockers, and then he decided he was going to go with Cal Stage and play the drums, him and Barry.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
And that
now you're bringing back.
lasted a very short period of time, and then so he decided that he was going to kind of revamp everything, and you know, try to put together, you know, the players of all players, and you know, and put together a really good band. So I'm like, he asked me again, and I'm like,
why in the hell did he call me then?
Because you're not fucking
I knew it was coming.
I can see that.
Actually, I'll be honest with you, he did call me.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, and I don't know if it was for this band, but he did reach out to me and ask me about some band. I don't know if maybe it was filling in for an older band. I don't know what it was. I can't remember, but I was so busy at the time I was in 3 bands.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I kind of had to say, I didn't have time, but I think he did reach out to me. I don't think it was for this, though. He missed out. He missed out on an old 80s. Imagine like shredding 80s solos during country songs. I could do it.
Pretty much what it is now.
I'm just kidding.
That's pretty much what it is now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was busy doing a lot of different kind of fill-ins and just being a fucking first call guy, and not really committed to anything. And so he kind of pinned me down, and he was like, you're going to be busy, and I was just coming out of a shitty relationship, and I kind of needed something to keep me focused. So
Right.
I knew it was more than I could handle at the time, but it's really what I needed money-wise and just a fucking distraction,
Okay.
So I took it, and the calendar was full, poof, instantly it was full, which was a good thing for me. And so
They're playing like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday
Well,
sometimes. I mean,
every
they do an
Friday
acoustic
and Saturday.
thing, and then
Right.
But they spread it out too. I think they do. I looked at their schedule. It was like mad. You know what I mean? I was
yeah,
like,
pretty
these
much
guys-
every Friday and Saturday. And so like I had one Friday night off since I started in like February or something. I can't even remember now, but it was, going to school full time, and I'm the fucking guy where I work. I mean, I'm the plant manager, so that's a lot of responsibility, and still trying to fit in. My kids are 20 and 18, so they don't want to have nothing to do with their dad, but you got to fit in where you can
Right.
get in,
Right.
Yeah.
and so
Or you
doing
got to
that-
get in where you fit in.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I think they both mean the same thing.
Yeah, they do.
so anyway,
They
yeah,
both
doing
make
that.
me. They both make me horny. So,
Jesus.
sorry.
So doing that and working full time and full time student, I mean, it was fucking way more than I could handle. But you know what? You get into something and you try to do the best you can, and you squeeze it in, and you slowly
Stop saying stuff like that.
Just-
Yeah,
I'm having a moment over
you
here.
slowly
I know
start
what you
falling
mean.
apart, though.
So what
okay.
happened was they had a big schedule. They had a lot of gigs that they wanted to do. You agreed to it, and then noticed it was a heavy workload that you kind of wanted to.
I
see.
never faltered though. I mean, I had to move, and stress of a fucked up relationship, and all kinds of just stress. And so after a while, even though you think that you're doing okay, you start falling apart a little bit at a time, and
You mean like in your social life, in your real life?
just keeping everything, keep staying healthy was the big
Right.
thing. I'm not the spring chicken. I'm 20 or nothing, so.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we never have talked about it. I got a text message, dude. Sorry, but we're moving on, which I took completely fucking disrespected.
So wait. Let's back up. So you didn't put in a notice or anything. You didn't say, hey, I'm gonna-
No, I got a text message. We had just had a conversation, and he's like, you know what? There's 2 veteran guys in that band, myself and Barry. Barry was in Lynn Allen or whatever, way, way, way back. Okay. And so, there's 2 guys that fucking know better or been around and know what it's all about, and then some bunch of younger guys, which, young guys sell, keenly and stuff. And
Right.
so anyway, but without getting, too far out of the fucking whack here, but
you kind of do get kind of out of bounds. It's like, what is the straight up? Why did you get removed from the band?
I don't know. Well, they said that I talk shit about him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you kind of were like, yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm
it
known as the fucking guy. I say what I have to say.
Okay. Well, I'm
and I
glad
don't
you're doing that.
fucking
I'm proud of you.
Mince any fucking words, and I don't really give a fuck what people think about me.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at who's been working and who hasn't been, who's been sitting in their fucking playing video games and shit, wishing that they were working, or whoever,
What you talking about, Willis?
Well, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a bunch of guys that play
Here, we'll pan back to me.
on a weekly basis, and there's
Right.
a bunch of guys that practice, and they're probably way better than I am, but they don't have a fucking gig, you know? So
Right.
I've already done what I needed to fucking do for myself, so I don't give a shit. You know, if I never play again, I don't give a fuck. Really, I don't, because now that I haven't been playing, it's like, man, this is one of the biggest fucking mistakes I ever made by being so stressed out and so, you know, because for me it was just a job.
Right.
You know, you can hire, like I said before, man, you can hire a guy to play in your band because I was a hireable person when I got fucking hired, but you can't pay somebody to live whatever dream you're trying to fucking live.
Right.
You know, you can't expect people to buy into that.
So what you're saying is the Dirt Road Rockers they aspire to do more than just play covers around here? Or?
Yeah, I mean, that's Wyatt's got a lot of invested in his band, or you know, his enterprise or whatever, you know, and I'm sure he's 10 years or better younger than me, and I know how I felt 10 years ago. You know, I was a hungry little beast.
Right.
You know, but
are they planning to do a record, or they want to go on tour? Or what,
you know,
what
I don't really know.
What is it that kind of squeezed you through the door?
Well, there was never any real direction for me other than, you know, this is the calendar, show up and play. That's all I focused on.
And he showed up and played.
Yeah,
no
and
issues.
you know, and everybody has distaste for shit, or people fuck up or act retarded and stuff, you know what, and the same fucking thing every fucking week, week in, week out. It doesn't matter. It's always the same shit. It's just different faces. People talk shit. People get drunk. Blah, blah, blah. Band stuff is band stuff. It's just different players in the game. It's just the same game to me, because I've been around long enough to do it. You know, I've played with everybody.
It is. It's kind of like a big blender of, you know, of musicians. You throw in like about 50 guys and blend them up, and then you get like 100 different bands, you know, in this little.
You know, that's cool, because I've always said that in this area, probably a 50-mile radius, there's more talented fucking guys than anywhere else I've ever been in the whole world. And I haven't been everywhere, but I've been a lot of places, and I've never found a place, you know, and I fucking grew up here, and it's something that I appreciate. I think most guys, or a lot of people, should probably take a closer look inward than outward.
Yeah.
You know, because shit's in L.A. and all the fucking stupid shit going on in music and stuff, but there's some really fucking magical shit happening right here. And
yeah. So are you saying that you kind of let them know you wanted to leave, and then
no, it was kind of a, you know, spur of the moment. They just, you know, they didn't really talk to me about it, which pissed me off.
Well, let me ask you this. So were they getting a vibe that you didn't really want to play as often? Is that what you're saying?
I don't really know. We've never
Did
talked
you have
about
a problem
it.
with playing every weekend? And
No. I show up, and, you know, I had a problem dealing with all of the other shit besides playing in that band because of responsibility and stress, you know. So, no, but I never fucking missed a gig, never asked to take time off, nothing.
You were still into it?
Yeah, I was down, man. To the fucking very last gig I played, I left fucking dripping sweat, you know. I mean, I give it 110% every fucking night, you know, whether I feel like it or not. That's just, it's a fucking job. You're either good at it or you're a lazy fuck, you know?
Well, you know what? That's kind of where I'm at too, Jim, is I sit here and go, man, I'm going to put another band together. I wanted to be playing every weekend, you know, because it's easy money and it's fun. It's, you know, it's what you aspire to do. You know, like I said before on another show, I said, if you'd walked up to the 10-year-old Brian Miner that was learning how to play guitar and said, hey, when you're in your 30s, you're going to be playing every weekend and getting paid money to play in front of people. And there's going to be a lot of people there that are having a good time, and that's what you're going to do on the weekends. I would have been like, hell yeah.
Right.
It'd have been the most awesome thing. But then when you know, get into the scene of doing it, and man, it's not as cool, you know what I mean?
That's a lot of
every
fucking work,
weekend.
man.
It's not the same feeling every weekend. People that can feel it every night that they play. Imagine, like, I mean, if you're making millions of dollars, it's one thing. But if you're just kind of making a couple $100 a night, I mean, Do you think Paul Stanley would still sing rock and roll all night and put on Kiss makeup for a couple $100 a night? Hell,
absolutely not.
To the no, he wouldn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Not after all these years.
right.
The
I mean,
first
there's
probably 10 years. Absolutely.
yeah.
You've
You
fucking
still
been
think
all
that
over
he
it.
feels the lyrics to anything, or when you go see any band, do you think like even Maiden? They
Right.
seem to make it look like they still feel what they're doing.
Yeah, they do look like they're into it still.
But they're 60-something years old, and do you
Right.
think that they still feel that angst? Like Metallica, they still feel that angst they had in their lyrics.
yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
It's just odd. Once you do it for a while, you kind of get.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
especially
that's all
with
it is,
dudes
you know?
like
Yeah.
that, yeah, because they're playing the same fucking songs every fucking.
Right.
I mean, even in a local or regional band, you're switching shit up. You have to,
Right.
or else.
I've realized that it's not really the when the needle's in the groove and the record's playing and you're playing the gig. It's the before and the after, like the hanging out with your brothers and like talking to people and hanging out and just being out and being, social in that scene. That really is what attracts and keeps me coming.
It's opposite for me.
Really, you like the playing. You don't like the.
Yeah, the setting up and the tearing down is where the money's made.
Well, I never
music's
said
free.
anything about setting up.
Well, you know what I mean. To me,
talking about-
the music's free because probably the most comfortable place on this earth for me is behind a drum set.
Yeah.
I don't. I've pretty much total command of what I'm doing. I'm not saying that I'm fucking, Steve
then-
Gadd or anything, but you know what I mean. I don't have to think about what
Well,
I'm
that
doing.
confuses me then. Then why would you let a gig like this slip through your fingers? I mean, that's a perfect gig for you, man.
It's too much fucking work for me, man.
Really?
And I've done what I need to do. I don't have to fucking make a name for myself anymore. I mean,
Well, yeah, you already have a name for yourself. I know that, but I'm just saying
and
that
I don't have to. I could go fucking work at McDonald's or something if
So
I
you
wanted
don't.
another fucking.
So you
job,
just
but-
feel kind of slighted, like a little burned.
disrespected.
Yeah.
Big fucking deal. I've been fired from a bunch of bands. You know why? Because I played in a whole fucking bunch of them. So it kind of comes with the territory.
What would you have expected them to say to you though? Like, hey Jim, like.
You wanted them to talk to you, not send a text. You want them
Oh yeah, fucking
worst
yeah.
case
That's why I
scenario.
said, that I sent that little kind of a dig. Technology is a wonderful thing.
Right.
It's a wonder we even have to get up out of bed.
Right.
Because that was the fucking cheap
Right.
for the effort that I put toward the whole thing. I mean, it was 100. Big fucking deal, man. Everybody talks shit about everybody, but you're gonna throw me under the bus over something like that? Fuck you guys. Really.
Right.
All
So-
right. Well, we'll move on from
Yeah.
that, and I want to know, Jim, if you had, through all history of when you've been playing around in the scene, if you could pick like a band you've never been in but you always wanted to be, is there any bands like now or then that you kind of always wanted to be in but you just never got in it?
Local bands.
Yeah, we'll start with that. I take that as a no.
Yeah. Jeez.
No, not really.
Well, fuck you.
No, actually, I was really impressed with your band.
Oh, stop it.
No, not because of, man, I wish it was me fucking doing it, because you guys are fucking badass. And whoever
It
that
was
drummer guy was
Terry Hodges.
from Galesburg or whatever.
Yeah, he's-
I was like, I stole so much shit from that dude, man.
Really? He'd be happy to hear that.
Yeah,
he
I was
don't listen to
fucking-
this show, but
I was really put aback by that dude a long time ago.
he might like covertly listen to it. I don't
Maybe
know.
not saying
You
that.
know,
Yeah, I was
like
really
like
put
whenever
aback by
when
it.
all the kids are in bed and his wife's in bed, he's listening to Minor Disturbance Radio. What's Minor saying now?
Yeah.
There's some other cats
he
that are
don't care.
No, I'm watching porn. I'm not
He
watching
don't
that.
care.
that are. There's a dude from Clinton. What the fuck's his name?
Matt Finn.
Matt Finn.
Yeah.
Incredible fucking. He's a plus lister.
He does watch the show.
Yeah, he's
believe
a
it or
fucking.
not.
I mean, that dude was
I
fucking.
think.
I've always, doing through the whole fucking pig pen thing and shit. That dude's always fucking floored me.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but back in the day, we should have a drinking game. Every time I say back in the day, everybody has to do a
should.
shot of whiskey.
You should.
We would be wasted in about
Yeah,
10
no
minutes.
shit.
But
Especially me. I don't know if I can. Drink that shit.
he was one of them A-listers. Matt Finn was.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I was coming up in a drummer situation, see, you didn't come into my consciousness until later on. When I met
Right.
Billy and started hanging out with Billy a little bit more. that's when I started seeing you around. But back then in the Pigpen days and all that stuff, there was my drummer Terry. That, you know, he was my favorite drummer in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just loved watching him play. I mean, just warming up and tuning his drums. I was like, God, I'm lucky to have this guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
And then you go see guys like Matt Finn.
Matt Finn, there, Jeff Clark.
Yeah, and
Yeah, played with Jump Ship. Had fucking massive drum set. One of the
another
best,
dude was
best
John
players.
Nelson. John Nelson was another guy.
John, of course.
But see, my drummer, you know, when you're younger, you know, the guys that are in your caliber, they start to get the eyebrow up in the air and they start
Right.
watching each other and they start, you know,
Stealing shit from one another.
you know, they pose for each other and all this stuff, you know,
Yep.
and there's a little bit of, you know, Matt Finn got a situation. See, my drummer Terry, his favorite band in the world was Enough's Enough back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
He loved Enough's
Right,
Enough,
nice.
and they're a great band.
Oh yeah.
And Matt Finn got to play a song with them on stage or something back then in the day, and that,
Motherfucker.
I think that just rubbed Terry a little wrong because he knew
Yeah.
that Finn was. Nowadays he wouldn't say, you know, but I think
Right.
for a couple weeks he was like, oh man, he was down on anytime you mentioned that guy, he's like, he didn't want to hear about him, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because he wanted to. And I know how that is. I was that way too, you know. Talk about another guitar player, and I'll be like, she's not better than me. Because
Right.
how many times did you hear that? You come off stage and like, you're pretty good, man, but my cousin's friend Joe knows a dude that's better than you. It's like,
You know,
Really?
there's all
Really?
those all those guys were like stacked up, and you fucking whip out your deck of cards, and there's like this guy and this guy is fucking badass at doing this, and you steal all this stuff, and then through like the whole Coal Chamber and Seven Dust when they first came out and shit.
Yeah.
There was a band out of Peoria called Taxi War Dance. You remember them?
Oh, yeah.
yep, I totally do.
I saw that fucking drummer. He was a young kid back in the day when they first came out. I saw
There's a
that
drink.
fucking.
Yep.
See, we'd get drunk.
Yeah,
dude.
dude, for real. But I saw this guy play, and I was like, that fucking cleaned the fucking slate for me.
Taxi War Dance.
He was a new, you know, one of the new fucking
Yeah.
new generation drummers and
Right.
shit. A young kid, and you know, pre or probably the same time as Pantera was fucking going down. You know, maybe a little after
yeah,
that.
but they had when I saw them, they had a singer. If I remember right, they had a singer that sang like he could sing like heart. They could do like heart songs. They could
Right.
do. I mean, he was like a vocalist, you know. And I was like, whoa.
long-haired dude.
Yeah, that guy's good.
remember that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they came and played around here, and they were like, thank God nobody's here to see this because
Yeah.
you know our band sucks compared to this. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
their fucking drummer was. I mean, after I saw that kid play, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home and fucking burn all my shit.
Yeah, then
And
you
just
realize that there's more
yeah.
fish in the pond. You know what I mean?
be
And
a
you get a
fucking
little like,
insurance salesman.
don't
you know?
come back here ever again.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is our town.
But that's when I started
What
to
you doing around
appreciate,
here? You know?
appreciate the younger dudes. I mean, there's a lot of fucking badass dudes, man, that
Yeah.
are playing, and the coolest part about it is people like Wes or Brian West, and
Yeah, I remember him.
and
Yeah,
you
he's
know
a good player.
everybody that's teaching all these fucking new guys are
Right.
guys that we played with and were kind of competitive with. You know, you go and watch them and steal all their fucking licks, and now there's all these products of each
one of those
individual
guys.
person. You know, and I can listen to a young guy and say, okay, West taught him, or Brian West taught this guy, because I mean I can tell that being a drummer, because so
Right.
Wow.
you can kind
So,
of there's
There was a
really
rumor at
finite
one.
things.
There was a rumor at one time that in between the Mark DeKalb and the Bobby Boyd transition for Lynn Allen, there was possibly you almost got put in that position. I heard some wind of that.
Yeah, I was going to do it. I accepted the job from Bill, and we had talked about it before that, you know, if Marky decides to leave, it was kind of off and on and stuff. And I did the Iowa project with Bill and Iowa 2 or whatever. I can't even remember it now, but and that was a really cool album, and didn't really do anything with it, motherfucker. But
Hey now.
Hey.
but no, it was really cool, and so I was gonna do it, and then Bob decided that he, you know, so you can't deny the fucking original dude,
Right.
So I'm just like, you know what, Bill, I didn't even talk to Bob about it. It was just like, you know, Bob Boyd's in, then cool, because
You know,
it wasn't like I was fucking gung ho about it. I just told Bill, you know what, yeah, I'll do it.
And another thing you got to think about from Bill's perspective is you got a guy coming in that wants to do it that's in no other bands. And then he knows that you're probably going to be dabbling. He's going to have to dance around some of your dates,
Well,
probably.
made
I mean,
that
he never
commitment
said
to him.
anything like that. But
Right,
I mean,
I did make that commitment to him, though.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, if it was all or none, and I was down with that because I know what to expect. you know, I ran sound for Bill for 3 years or something like that. So I knew what the whole shindig was and knew all the material and, you know, just from weekend in and out doing, you know, just running sound. So it wouldn't have been anything new to me or nothing. But, you know, Bob wanted in and I'm just like, I don't even have to be gracious about it. It was like, duh, that's a fucking given. So, and, you know, and I love Bob. We talk all the time. He always wants me to tune his fucking drums for him, which, you know, for as much money as he paid for him, he should have a fucking little motherfucker that tunes him for him. You know, that comes with it. But
a little Jimmy.
Yeah. But, you know, seriously, that dude's got beautiful equipment. But drums.
Could you imagine, though? I mean,
yeah.
Watch it, guys.
Watch it.
Is that when you got cornhole?
But no, I mean, you know, and if Bob gets tired, I'm sure Billy will give me a call.
Because you'll be in minor disturbance.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So
Playing the Colt.
That's what I was gonna say. Imagine Bill. I mean, how? I mean, I don't want to say he's burned on it, but could you imagine? You know, somewhere in his mind, you know that you've played gigs where you kind of separate yourself from the gig and you go, ah, man, come on. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, he's been at this forever, and like that's his paycheck. He don't have another job. You know what I mean? And I've always I envied that for a long, long time, and now I kind of feel like, man, that's a war horse. I mean, he probably has a hard time enjoying it anymore.
Right.
Or does he? Or does he still enjoy it? That's, I mean,
you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
Billy's such a weird guy, man. He's hard to get a hold of. You know, you notice that. And
he was made to do what he's doing.
Yeah,
though.
I think
You know
a lot of the way that Billy is on a daily basis is the way that that he's designed the band and that's his job, and he's kind of an eclectic dude, you know, but
yeah.
I always tell him, I'm like, you know what, and I would love to be in the position that he is, because at any fucking moment, he could pull the plug on this whole thing, sell his fucking house, go down to St. Thomas or something, and, you know, with a guitar and a fucking speaker on a stick.
Yeah, he talked about that when
and just play acoustic shit and do
Margaritaville?
the exact same thing that he does now, and fucking, you know, burn people to the fucking ground when they heckle him and shit, you know. And that's his fucking retirement.
I went on a cruise with the guy, and I don't know where the guitar came from, but we were on this island for like 2 hours, and pretty soon, I ain't shitting you, before you know it, Bill had a guitar in his hands and he was singing, and there was people around like, you know, and he's just singing something. He just, boom, it just happened. And I'm like, you can't take him anywhere. He's, you know, he's like,
but that's his retirement.
He can live
fuck,
right
man,
there.
I wish I had that fucking gift.
Yeah.
I'd already been gone. I told him fucking 5 years ago, dude, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Hanging around here.
Yeah.
But you can all, you know, it'd be cool to know that you could always lean back on that fucker.
I would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, no shit. Me too.
Yeah, the winter's here. I'd be gone.
Yeah, I would mess with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, as long as his health keeps up, man, you know, it's like, I don't know. When I talked to him for the interview, though, I mentioned on the other show that I thought he was acting weird. Mm-hmm. And given he had a buddy that just passed away a few days before that.
Oh, Bill, yeah.
Yeah.
Rest his soul.
Yeah. And, but talking to, you know, I've been friends with Bill for a long time. Probably not as long as you, obviously, but he just wasn't acting. It's like he couldn't get all the way into character. Like he didn't want to. He just wanted to be Bill. Right. And it was just odd.
Can't blame him for that, though.
No, I liked it. You know, I liked it. Although I think that he was uncomfortable being that. He was uncomfortable not being able to fully turn into the character.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, that's the part of
and that's why he had the guitar.
That's the part of people like us that most people don't get a chance. They don't actually get let in the fucking door to experience.
Yeah.
You know, what makes people like us to do the things that we do.
Yeah.
You know, really, there's some fucking, you know, one of the best fucking drummers in the world, Billy Cobhams. He spends all fucking day watching cartoons. What? What?
What's wrong with that?
Well, you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, there's some weird fucking shit that goes on that make people
tick.
Creative people, you know.
Yeah. So
are you looking then for another gig down the road, or you just want to take a little hiatus?
Actually, I could be playing right now in Rockford, but I when it was the gig was offered to me yesterday morning, and I woke up to the offer, you know, and it was a really cool place with some good players that I played with before. But I thought about it, and I just got tired. And I was already in bed, but I just thinking about doing it made me tired. So I'm like, you know what? I can't, I don't want to do that.
You could have blew us off, man.
Well, I didn't. It wasn't that. I mean, it was that.
I just wouldn't have talked to you for like 3 months. So we all heal.
But I'm not to the point yet.
Yeah.
To answer your question,
Right, yeah.
I mean, I've spent enough time the last few weekends just doing fucking normal people shit.
Yeah.
And
And
you're
I'm thinking
you're
like, what
liking
the
it, aren't
fuck, man, have I been doing? It's a waste of fucking time and energy. And, I owe a lot of people, my kids, my family, a lot of people that I fucking care about. I feel having taken time away enough that a lot of people, I can understand how they might feel shortchanged with me being off doing shit.
Right.
And it kind of sucks, but it's an
Yeah.
eye-opener.
Yeah, that's true. And like I say, I have a 2-year-old and another one on the way, but the 2-year-old's not quite old enough to know what I'm doing while she's sleeping.
Right.
But when she does get to the age where it's, hey, Daddy, let's do this instead. Let's have popcorn and watch this. Well, I got a gig this weekend. It's going to get to that
man.
point. That's why I got to get it all out of my system right now. So you ready? Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Let's go.
Fucking A. This is it, you guys.
Yeah. This is it. So, yeah, but man, I'm so glad you stopped by. It's been a blast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have you stop by every now and again and have a whatever we're gonna call the segment. We'll call it what the fuck with Jim VanHyfte.
Right on.
And how cool is it to have Van before your last name?
Hefty fucks it all up, though.
Yeah,
Hefty, wimpy, fuck you.
No, not Hefty. You should have said Hyfte or something. VanHyfte.
Well,
VanHyfte. But that's very highbrow.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm Jimmy VanHyfte. That's not
You
very
have to
rock
do
and
this
roll.
every time you see your name. Van Hefty.
Yeah.
What's your name? Van Hefty.
But it's been awesome, man.
Thanks
And,
for
stopping by, bud.
Thanks, man.